Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Blendline TV YouTube channel, Facebook page, and the Offshore Superboats Facebook page for the live stream of the opening round of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here at the beautiful Lake Macquarie. Absolutely stunning venue. My name is Jamie McCarthy. I will be doing the commentary for all of these races over the weekend. We have 6 races over 2 days, 3 here on the Saturday and 3 on the Sunday tomorrow, here at the same venue, of course. I'm really excited to be here. It's a beautiful part of the world. I am the Stig Bisho. Dave Bishop unavailable this weekend. Bisho, hope you're doing well, mate. And whenever Bisho's not available, I get the phone call from Brisbane and away we go. So great to be a part of the team again here, and great to have Blendline TV providing the live stream and some fantastic pictures. So we've got multiple camera positions. We've got a drone. We're going to have some live onboard camera shots throughout the races as well. So with today, we have 65 mile an hour and 85 mile an hour. Supersports 65, Supersports 85. They will run 2 races. So the first race is scheduled to start in the next 5 or so minutes. There will be a formation lap / parade lap first up. They'll go around and just do a sight of the course behind our start boat, and then that race will start. Half-hour duration. Then the second race today will be the big boys, Supercat Extremes and Supercat Outboards, and we have 10 boats. One of the biggest entries we've had for the Superboat Championship for many, many years. I'm probably going back to Townsville 10, 12 years ago when I did one of the events up there, and we had some very, very good big boat numbers. So we've got 6 of the Supercat Extremes, 4 of the Supercat 600s, Supercat outboard boats, so a quantity of 10 for that race. And we have about 13 in the 65s and 85s. We've got to say a big thank you for this weekend, Empire Marina, where we're based out of with race control and the boats going in and out of the water, and a big thank you to the team from Wilson Lift for providing the crane over there this weekend for getting these big Supercats in and out. Hornet Property Services and the Lake Macquarie Council. Without the councils and the various tracks that we go to around the country, we call them a track, it's a lake, without their support, this certainly wouldn't be happening. So we've got a bit of another area sort of set up over in Warners Bay, directly opposite us here, as you're looking at the Empire Marina right there with the drone shot over and above where all the race teams are based out of. Directly across from us, Warners Bay, there's a little bit of, I think they've got a commentary speaker set up over there as well, a remote one over there. You can also tune in locally here around the lake, 88.9 FM. If you're sitting in your car and wondering what's going on, probably not listening to me right now, but we do have a localised FM frequency around as well at 88.9 FM on your stereo dial. So live stream with Blendline TV, Facebook channel and YouTube channel, and the Offshore Superboats Facebook page. If you click on any links asking for money, don't click on them. It's a free service, folks. So please don't click on anything that looks strange. When you go onto any of the sites, there will be scammers trying to get in there and getting money off you, so don't do it. It is free. So this race course, 6.53 kilometres long. It is in an anti-clockwise direction. Start-finish line is right here in front of us at race control. So we're just on the drone shot there, just over and above the start area, the grouping area where the boats for the 65s and 85s are starting to get set up. Lots of people taking some great spots down here on the foreshore right around the lake. It is a great venue because you can pretty much see all of the race course from anywhere around the vantage positions right around Lake Macquarie. So our Supersports 85s and 65s are on their way for their formation lap. So a sighting lap, a formation lap, a parade lap, whatever you want to call it. They will go around the race course. So right here in front of us is the finish line with the two checkered boys. That is mark A, buoy A. Start line's just a little bit further down from that with two orange boys marking the start. Then we go down to B and C, which is heading down towards Bolton Point. If you're familiar with Lake Macquarie here, we are in New South Wales, about half an hour, just slightly south and inland from Newcastle. About 40 minutes from the airport. And it is a fantastic venue. We had a big, spectacular thunder and lightning storm here early last night while we were doing the meet and greet. There's some fairly big bolts of lightning floating around. But today it's a little bit breezy, so there's going to be a little bit of lift going up this front straight, past the start-finish line. So this is just a sighting lap. That boat there, Thunderstruck, number 4. This thing, TR Racing, 575 cubic inches, twin turbocharged Mercruiser. This is a crate engine, a stock engine out of the Mercruiser lineup. Very popular with the ski boat races, and the TR Racing boat is a ski race boat. 1,800 horsepower. So that boat is more than capable of speeds up over 120 plus mile an hour. I understand that with ski racing now in Australia, that upper speed limit is 120 mile an hour. That boat does that easily. So for this event, and for our opening event for the Supersports 65s and 85s, that boat is limited to 85 miles per hour. With the 65 mile an hour boats, they are limited to just 65 mile an hour. Now, there are onboard GPSs that are closely monitored by race control post-race. The teams actually have to send a photo of that GPS immediately after the race. They are not allowed to exceed 65 and 85 miles an hour. If you are 0.5 of a mile an hour over that, it's a 30-second penalty. If you are 0.99, so 65.99 or 85.99 miles an hour, that's a 1-minute penalty. If you hit 86 miles an hour, or in the Back to the Future fans, 88 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour less than that. If you hit 86 mile an hour or 66 miles an hour in the respective two classes, you are gone, disqualified. So management out there on the race course is very, very important. We've just had that breeze just pick up, so there's a little bit of lift out there, probably more for the tunnel hull boats. But for these boats downwind, they're going to have to be very, very careful that they are not exceeding either the 65 or 85 mile an hour limits set for Supersports 65 and 85. In Supersports 85, we have Colonel Racing, 24-foot skater, Harry Backer and Steve Kelly. Steve's sitting alongside for this race. Steve's going to be a busy boy this weekend. Also in Supersports 85, Skater 28 team of Aaron Panozza and Jack Panozza. Those two rigs powered by a pair of Mercury outboards. Supersport 85 TR Racing, we've just spoken about the black and blue Force 21 with Mark the Russian, Mark Petchazorewski. I'm just going to go with Mark the Russian, and Ian Tricker. That is a stunning boat. I'd never seen that engine before in a race boat, and I was asking Ian Tricker about it, and it is a serious, serious piece of kit. 1,800 horsepower, pretty much standard out of the Mercruiser catalogue. Thunderstruck, boat number 131. That's Darren Penfold running the Evinrude 300. We've got Watersports Marine, which is a cyclone hull with a Mercury 454 stroke on board. Anthony McAnally and Hunter McAnally, father and son combination. Hunter's first time in the boat this weekend. In the Supersport 65 class, we've got Cardiac Arrest, Charlie D'Orio and Greg Walters. That's the big Coodercraft. Team 38 Offshore, Ben Embleton, who's driving that boat alongside Liam Sutherland. Now, last time I commentated here 2 years ago, Ben actually commentated with me. He's Russell's son, who is our race director, and I tell you what, kid does an awesome job commentating. He's probably, he might be better in the race boat, I don't know. Nutcase, boat number 17, Antonio Fazzolari. The Com, Brendan Weeks and Sophie Lancaster. That is one of the red boats, so that's an easy one to pick. as they head back down towards us. So they're coming off Warner Bay, so they're right up against Warner's Bay. That is a great viewing position. Had breakfast over there in one of the cafes this morning. Lots of people walking around. There was a little local market down there with all sorts of food trucks and trailers and caravans, and I've never seen so many people walking around the place. We've also got Valentis Powerboats, which is Patrick Paczkowski. That's got the Yamaha 250 4-stroke VMAX on board. Deegan, which is a Signa hull, Zach Gould and Michael Agius. Now that's a bit of a hybrid. That's a Yamaha 250cc powerhead with a Mercury leg on it. We've got Power Marine, Patrick Benici, another Yamaha 200 4-stroke. That's a Force F19X. And All Coast Marine, Aaron Jackson with the 450 Yamaha. So that's our lineup, and we won't be too far away from a race start here for our first race of the day here at Lake Macquarie. The opening round of the Offshore Superboats here at Lake Macquarie. 3 boats here on the Saturday. 3 races, here on the Saturday. 3 on the Sunday. So we've got a full weekend of racing to get through with some of the biggest lineups of boats we've seen for quite a few years, especially with the Supercat Extreme and Supercat outboard classes coming up in about probably 45, 50 minutes time off the back of this one. So this race scheduled for 12 p.m. start. We're just past that, obviously, with the sighting lap. The first of our Superboat races will be from 1 p.m. and then the second of our Supersports 65 and 85 races at 2 p.m. So we're looking for a race start here. They have grid positions that they need to hold up into the B mark at the Bolton Point end of the course. And the flag should go down right now, and we are racing. Supersport 85s leading the field away, so the bigger, faster boats. Now they'll look to establish and try and get an early jump to 85 mile an hour as fast as they can, and then they'll just sit it and park it. In behind them is a great lineup of Supersport 65s. Pretty sure that looked like... might have been Team 38 offshore that just got the initial jump on that one. So various camera positions. We've got the drone in operation with Blendline TV. So they'll head down to the B and C mark. Then they head across the lake towards, I think the suburb is it Alibana? Over there with some beautiful properties there right on the water side. That'll be the D mark. They'll make the run around D now and then head back over towards Warner's Bay to E. So that's one of the longer runs on the course. They'll be pretty much downwind. That little breeze has just settled a little bit. So half-hour duration. Colonel Racing was the first one across the line for the 85s, Harry Backer and Steve Kelly. The 24-foot skater, that boat has done a lot of racing on both sides of the Tasman here in Australia and over in New Zealand, going back a little bit too, I believe, at some stage. Very, very popular boat, open cockpit boat compared to our Supercat Extreme and Superboat outboard classes. Right, so they've made the run through E. They head over to F, so they're right in front of Warner's Bay right now, and there's a lot of people gathered on the waterfront over that side of the lake. They make the turn off F now. They'll make a run to G, so to the inside of G, which is pretty much off the end of Spears Point. So we'll just let them get settled in this opening lap. Pretty much ideal conditions, just a little bit of a breeze, there's just a little chop on the water. As I said, this is just a wonderful, wonderful venue for an offshore powerboat race, even though we are on a lake. And Russell told me I'm not allowed to talk about New Zealand, but for me, a smaller version of the Lake Taupo round, it actually probably reminds me more of the inner harbour at Mount Maunganui, down on the east coast of New Zealand, about 2 hours south of Auckland. The Lake Taupo race was unique because it is a freshwater lake, and the water conditions are very, very different water-wise. So my understanding here is this: we're sort of brackish water with a mixture of salt and fresh, because it does feed off the ocean down the southern end of the lake. So we go to our race leaders, and it will be TR Racing by not much. Mark the Russian and Ian Tricker. Skater 28 slots into the second position. Aaron Panozza, Jack Panozza. 28-foot skate with a pair of 300 Merc XS offshore engines on the back of it. So they've already got a big separation now. Going to the third placed boat will be the 36. Watersports Marine, Anthony McAnally and Hunter McAnally. Cyclone hull. Mercury 450 four-stroke. That's a big power head for a relatively small boat. So TR Racing, Skater 28, Watersports Marine. Thunderstruck was fourth. Darren Penfold. That's the white and red boat with the Evinrude 300 two-stroke on it. So Colonel Racing had sort of dropped a little bit further back on that one. The first of our Supersports 65s will be the 72. And that's Patrick Benici in the Force F19X. 200 horsepower Yamaha four-stroke. As you can see, some very, very different boats out there. '17 going through there as well, Nutcase. All right, things just settling down. Lap number 1 is done. 30 minutes race duration. All sorts of different boats out there. If you've got a family boat and you want to race as part of the Australian Superboat Championships, check out the website page, Facebook, contact the team, because you can pretty much turn up with anything and race and be a part of this. We've got some fishing boats out there, we've got ski boats out there, we've got fun boats out there. Even our start boat's a race boat. Some great shots over there, the drone. So that's the B and C run down the southern end of the course. So right in front of us here at Race Control and Commentary, looking to my left, that is the northerly direction. And people that know me know I'm directionally challenged at the best of times. So TR Racing is your race leader. They're already heading down towards the H and I mark, which would be probably the sharpest turn on the race course. I think they might be just about by themselves. There's Colonel Racing going through, so they're back. They've made a couple of spots up by the looks of it, because TR Racing is about to come through to complete lap number 2. 6.53 kilometre course. So TR Racing. They've got a big lead. So what's happened to the Skater 28 team? Just waiting for our next boat to come through. You can see how big that leader is now for TR Racing. That massive 575 cubic inch Mercruiser V8 quad cam, twin turbo, 1800 horsepower. So Colonel Racing's gone from 5th to 2nd on that last lap. So Skater 28's dropped back to the tail of the field. So the 36 going through in the 3rd position is still Watersports Marine, the McAnallys. Other thing I was getting used to this morning, having not commentated offshore for a couple of years, is some of the new power heads coming out, and a lot more of the four-strokes coming into contention. 131 going through, that's in the 85 class. Thunderstruck, Darren Penfold, the 300 Evinrude. There's Skater 28 going through now, so they've either had an issue over the backside of the course that we didn't quite see. They've gone from 2nd back through the field a little bit. So TR Racing dominating down here in front of us at Race Control. Should be the first of our Supersports 65 boats. Just making their run off H9 now on the way down towards us. So with the 65s, it should be Nutcase in the 17 battling with the Con. No, it's actually 72 Power Marine. 72 Power Marine. Followed by the 13. Patrick Kowalski. And the Valentis. Then it's Cardiac Arrest going through. So Cardiac Arrest making some gains on that last lap. V6 4.2 litre 4-stroke Yamaha. That's one of the big Cuda craft. A couple of smaller boats there. We've got Team 38 Offshore, Ben Embleton. And big chime walk for the Cuda just on the other side, still trying to gather it up. He's still going. Get it straightened back up. He just got out into a little bit of a chop and it just started chime walking side to side in the big Cuda. Wow. I think that was Nutcase, Antonio Fazzolari. The big black and green Cuda. That was a big moment down here on the front straight as TR Racing comes through, leading Supersports 85. Concentrate over the back side of the course. That'll be the boats over on opposite sort of the Alibana suburb here on Lake Macquarie, off the D mark. Geez, that Cuda's got some trim issues because I'm pretty sure that'll be Antonio Fazzolari in Nutcase. Really got his hands full. That boat is very, very unstable right now. So whether that's a trim issue, you can see the boat just chevying side to side. Looks really uncomfortable. So we're about 10 minutes 20 into this race. So we've still got just on 20 minutes left to go. TR Racing dominating at the moment. The big inboard Mercruiser. As we continue to watch the antics of the big Cuda craft over towards Warner's Bay, and it's it's an exciting ride for them at the moment. 131 going past us here at Race Control. Thunderstruck. Now they'll be fourth in Supersports 85. Darren Penfold with the Evinrude 300. 13, that'll be Valentis. Now they are probably second overall. I think that was Deegan just in behind them in the 402. Hard to try and identify some of these smaller boats. The bigger boats are easy because they're so big, 40 foot plus some of them. Some exciting new entries coming into the championship for Supercat Extreme and Supercat Outboard. And likewise, some interesting combinations and some new boats for the Supersports 65 and 85 classes. So definitely an improvement in the weather. It was quite warm here yesterday afternoon. Today's forecast was sort of 21, 22 degrees. A little bit of a breeze just coming off. It's cooled things down a little bit. A little bit of cloud cover over the top. That's Deegan just going through there now. Cardiac Arrest goes in behind them. In fact, that'll be All Coast Marine in the 111, I think. All Coast Marine with the 450 Yamaha on board. Yeah, that'll be All Coast. So All Coast would be third in Supersports 65. So all of those boats limited to just a maximum of 65 miles an hour. It's coming up to 13 minutes, so TR Racing's going to have some lap traffic to start contending with, if it's not already in lap traffic. 13 on the screen there at the moment is Valentis, Patrick Kowalski. So that's Valentis running a 4-stroke 250 horsepower Yamaha VMAX. Supersports 85, Aaron Penoza, Jack Penoza in Skater 28, just going through shots. So they are second overall, chasing down TR Racing. Just trying to spot TR. I think they're over the back on the approach to Warners Bay. So they've probably got about a third of a lap advantage over Skater 28 at the moment, with Watersports Marine in third for Supersports 85. And for Supersports 65, it should be Power Marine 72, Patrick Benici, that is leading Supersports 65. So Skater 28 on screen, second in Supersport 85. TR Racing's over just off the back of Warners Bay now, heading down towards F and G. So about a third of a lap up on this boat. Skater 28 running in the second position as that breeze has just picked up again. It's a little bit more solid out there. Not so much of a white cap out there on the race course, but it is a little bit choppy. I reckon that breeze has just sort of picked up in the last 5 minutes from what we saw from the race start about 15 minutes ago. So half race distance, TR is in amongst the lap traffic. So the only inboard combination. Very, very fast ski race boat. I don't know how many of the Aussies are headed over to New Zealand for the New Zealand bridge to bridge shortly. It's not too far away. Weather-wise, hasn't been good in the Waikato recently. The Waikato River is very, very heavily flooded. So the water levels are very, very high. So it could be very, very interesting for the bridge-to-bridge over there. It's a very busy weekend for boat sports here in Australia this weekend. So we've got the offshores here, obviously, at Lake Macquarie as TR Racing goes through to complete another lap, convincingly in the lead at the moment. Mindful not to exceed 85 mile an hour. So we've got the offshore opener here at Lake Macquarie this weekend. Jet Sprint, second round of the Australian Jet Sprint Championships. In South Australia in a little place called Keith. And the circuit race boats are actually in Mildura this weekend for a round of their Australian Championships. So other than ski boat racing, pretty much everything else that races on the water in Australia is racing around the country at the moment. So TR Racing, this is a Force 21 with 1,800 horsepower of twin turbocharged quad cam Mercruiser V8 in the back of it. What's the conversion from 85 mile an hour to Ks? Where's my calculator? 85 times 1.6. 136 kilometres an hour. 136 kilometres an hour. So we're just coming up to 18 minutes, so just over 12 minutes left to go in this first race. The Supercat Extremes and Supercat Outboards will be getting lifted into the water if they're not already in the water. And they will be up for a race start at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. So there'll be a little bit of downtime while we get these boats off the water and back into Empire Marina. And then we will have our big boys out on the course. Supercat Extreme and Supercat Outboard with 10 entries to start the first race of the new championship for the Australian offshore powerboat season. That wind's definitely picked up. I'm having to tape everything down up here in commentary. So TR Racing dominating this one in the Supersports 65 class. It's still Power Marine, boat number 72, leading Supersports 65. Also got some lap scoring up here as well, which is very, very handy. So that'll be Skater 28 battling with, I don't quite see the number on that boat, the black and green, I think. No, it's not Nutcase. Look like either a Cyclone or a Small Force, but that's definitely Skater 28. Aaron and Jack Panozza. That'll be All Coast Marine. It's a big group of boats there just coming off Spears Point off the G mark on the run down to H and I. Just sort of the northern end of Marmong Point, definitely off the end of Spears Point. So that'll be Spears Point right there with the H and I mark. So they make their run back down onto the front straight here into the wind. Wow, if anything, actually the wind's probably coming across the lake now a little bit. But there still should be a little bit of lift for the Cats. So the 72's just gone through. Power Marine, Colonel Racing. So Power Marine, they might be about to go down a lap. 13 going through. Valentis. So that's actually Power Marine and Valentis are pretty much nose to tail. There's only a handful of seconds between those two boats. Then you had All Coast Marine, Cardiac Arrest, the Con. In that next group of boats for the Supersports 65 class. So this is the first of our races today. We've got the Supercat Extremes and Supercat Outboards first race to come up in about half an hour's time. A second race for the Supersports 65s and 85s from 2 p.m. 80 just goes past me here at Race Control. The Con, Brendan Weeks and Sophie Lancaster. 38 Offshore's just going through past in front, behind them. In the black and grey, in fact that's a Razorcraft, not a Cootercraft. Correct myself on that one, apologies. So Colonel Racing, Harry Backer and Steve Kelly. So they're back in the 5th position in Supersports 85. TR Racing continue to lead from Watersports Marine. Skater 28, Thunderstruck, Colonel Racing. Power Marine leads Sports 65 from Valentis. All Coast Marine, Cardiac Arrest, the Con. Team 38 Offshore, Nutcase and Deegan. Deegan is the number 402 boat. White and red signature hull with the Yamaha 250. Frankenstein, the boys called it this morning, because it's a Yamaha powerhead with a Mercury leg on it. So back to our race leader, doing it easily. Now you'll see here on this shot that the navvy is actually sitting backwards. That's what they do with ski boat racing. Keeping an eye on the skiers behind the boats. Skiing at 120 mile an hour behind this thing must be insane. And I commend the water ski races around the world that hang off the back of these boats with something like 200-foot long lines and single skis. You guys are nuts. You're not wired up properly. So Ian Tricker And Mark the Russian, Mark Pichazewski, comfortably leading our first race of the day. 22 minutes and 50 seconds into this race. So we're about 7 minutes left to go in this first race. I think everyone's out there still racing. Some good battles out there on the race course. A couple of the smaller boats running side by side there. That's Power Marine, so that's your Sports 65 leader. Valentis not too far behind. Now, who's that in front of them? That might be Thunderstruck in the 131. Just about to come past us now, so I'll pick them up. In fact, it's the 36 Water Sports Marine and Supersports 85. So those guys are fourth in Sports 85. Water Sports Marine, Cyclone Hull with the Mercury 450 four-stroke. That is a big power head. Just in behind them was our Sports 65 leader, Power Marine.
He's trying to ask you, where's that fishing spot, mate?
With Valentis and All Coast Marine, not too far behind them as they head back down towards Bolton Point and our B and C buoys. So that'll be Valentis and All Coast Marine. All Coast Marine, the big pleasure boat with the 450 Yamaha on back. So that's a battle for position. That's second and third in Sports 65. Two very, very different boats. And that is the gap. That is for second and third. And they're only a matter of probably 10 seconds down on Power Marine out in front as they head down towards D mark and making their run back towards the front of Warners Bay. So the Supersports 65 battle for second and third. Pretty much side by side. So that's one of the best battles on the racecourse at the moment for second and third. Supersports 65 between Valentis and All Coast Marine. "26 minutes, 4 minutes left to go." Watching this battle again between 13 Valentis, 111 All Coast Marine. Valentis got a little bit of a better run heading back down towards us off Warners Bay. You can see how different those two boats are from front on. Just trying to hear where TR is on the racecourse. I can definitely hear it. They'll be over the back heading down towards Warners now as Colonel Racing has got back up into second and ahead of Skater 28. Okay, so they've both been toing and froing over the last 10 or 15 minutes because Colonel Racing was back in fifth at one stage. Skater 28 didn't get the best of starts, and on lap 2 had an issue and they dropped back and they got back to second, but Colonel Racing's managed to get back by them. As this awesome battle between Valentis and All Coast Marine continues on the run down to H and I mark. So All Coast Marine got a little bit of a better run mid sort of leg on that one, and's got an inside run here and will pick up the second position this time as they head down towards us here at race control in the start finish line. That's an awesome shot from the drone. Thank you to the team. Daniel directing for Bloodline TV. First time I've worked with these guys, and they're doing a fantastic job. fact, the Supersports 65 battle, there's only probably 2 to 3 seconds in it because the 72's just gone through. This is second and third. So Supersports 65, there's about 3 seconds in it for first, second and third. Power Marine, Valentis and All Coast Marine within about 3 seconds.
Yeah, he's definitely doing good.
So All Coast to the inside still, giving each other a little bit of racing room. Cardiac Arrest goes past me now in the 4th position, and the Con will be 5th. So 28 minutes coming up to 30 seconds, so a minute and a half left to go. So we'll keep an eye out for our finish boat. Shouldn't be too far away from heading over to the finish line. As our race leader comes past me, we watch 111. All Coast Marine still in that battle with Valentis and not too far off the Supersports 65 leader, which is 72, Power Marine, Patrick Benici. So TR's just gone through to complete another lap. We are at 29 minutes. 1 minute left to go. 1 minute left to go, and we should see a checkered flag not too far away. So TR Racing lead from Colonel Racing, Skater 28, Water Sports Marine, Thunderstruck, and then it's Power Marine, Valentis and All Coast Marine, 1, 2 and 3, and Supersports 65. Looking at the laps, so Supersport 85 boat's getting around in about 3:13, 3:14, 3 minutes 13, 14 a lap. This boat here, I think there was a 3:09 in there a couple of laps ago. TR Racing, Mark the Russian and Ian Tricker. 1,800 horsepower of quad cam V8 twin turbo Mercury's a big block. That is a big, if you get a chance to come down to the marina and have a look at this boat, it is an impressive piece of kit. The engineering on the engine side of things is super, super impressive. So we've got our start boat, which will have a checkered flag off it very, very shortly, just down here in front of us at race control. As our race leader is right down off the waterfront at Warners Bay, just making the run off the F mark, heading back down towards us. Pretty much downwind. That wind's coming right across the lake at the moment, so pretty much downwind to the G mark. And I'll make an inside run and just a little flick to the right. There it is there. That's G. If anything, the water's just a little bit calmer over that side of the lake. Maybe just that sort of coming into Spears Point with a little bit of a buffer. But TR Racing looking for the checkered flag. Heading down to the H&I mark, which what should be for the final time. We're at 31 minutes, 20 seconds for the race. So the Battle in Sports 65 has just gone across the line, so they've got one more lap to do just ahead of the Supersports 85 leader. So
oh, look, there's the cameraman.
Still the third, not the 13. Power Marine still your leader from All Coast Marine. The checkered flag is up on our start-finish boat. And through the checkers goes TR Marine to take our first race of the weekend here at Lake Macquarie for the opening round of the Australian Offshore Powerboat Championships. TR Racing goes to the inside of the race course as victors in Supersport 85. Now the battle for second and third, there's nothing in it between Colonel Racing and Skater 28. They're just heading down to H&I mark now, and they're pretty much nose to tail in some lap traffic. As we watch on screen here, going over the backside of the course, the battle for Supersports 65 between Power Marine, Valentis and All Coast Marine. So TR Racing taking out Sports 85, and we're just waiting for the Colonel and Skater 28 to come down to the line now. There they are on the drone shot, and it will be the Colonel. By just a couple of seconds, the Colonel will take second in Supersport 85. Harry Backer and Steve Kelly, and Skater 28, the Penozzas, Aaron and Jack Penozza, in third position. Nutcase just went through. So we go back to our Supersports 65 battle. Now these three boats, there is a third one in the back of that. Actually, All Coast Marine with a run here. This is for the race lead with Power Marine. So All Coast Marine was back in third, battling with Valentis, boat number 72, the other white hull. And I think All Coast may have cleared. Oh, it's tight. They're side by side. Doesn't quite look like it on this shot, but looking here across the lake, they are side by side. There's the shot. Perfect. They are side by side, right down in front of Warners Bay, right now past the cafe where I had breakfast this morning. Supersports 65 battle. It doesn't get too much closer than this. Ooh, that was close. It's going to be a big drag race downwind.
Hell no.
Power Marine back into a very, very small lead. Crossed over in front of the big All Coast Marine. So just swung to the inside of the G mark with Valentis not too far behind them. There's only probably 4 to 5 seconds, if that, covering the top three in Supersport 65. Here comes All Coast Marine with a run to the inside on the run to H&I. This is where this boat's been pretty strong. The last lap made a run on Valentis at exactly the same part of the race course. So this is the big 4-stroke 450 horsepower Yamaha outboard up against the Yamaha 200 4-stroke. So the little Yami 200's given away twice the amount of horsepower, but they are both limited to 65 mile an hour. Checkered flag is up on our finish boat again. Can Power Marine come back to All Coast Marine? The battle of the Marines. I think it's going to be All Coast. It's going to be close. It is going to be very, very close. All Coast Marine by about a boat length. With Valentis back in third, there was only 3 or 4 seconds covering our top three in Supersport 65. That was a good boat race. And old mate's done it standing up. Not a bad opener. Congratulations, Aaron Jackson and All Coast Marine taking out victory in Supersport 65. And he's done that whole race standing up. There you go. Good job, Aaron. So TR Racing, Supersports 85. Now these results to be confirmed. As I said earlier on in the live stream, each of the teams now has to send a photo of their GPS to race control. So Russell Embleton down below me and here in the race truck, they have to send a photo to confirm they have not exceeded either 65 or 85 miles per hour for the two respective classes. That's a great effort.
Over there behind the towboat.
So that's our first race of the day done. We have the first of the big boys out on course very, very shortly. Superboat Extreme, Supercat Extreme and Supercat Outboard. 10 entries, one of the biggest entries we've seen in Supercat Extreme for many, many years. I'm really excited to see it. We've got some fantastic boats to come up. But for this one, it's congratulations to Aaron Jackson, All Coast Marine, taking out victory in Supersport 60, and TR Racing, Mark the Russian and Ian Tricker taking out the win in Supersports 85. As we have a look over Empire Marina, the big boats are in the water. That is a fantastic sight. I've got to say a big thank you to Wilson Lift being here all week, or being here all weekend. They were here Friday, some of the teams testing here on Friday, getting these big boats in the water. And a good problem to have here at Empire Marina is getting these boats moved around on the big trucks and trailers to get them into the water. It presents a little bit of a problem with space, but that's a good problem to have because we've got lots of boats, which is really, really cool to see. So just looking, the two big boats immediately in front of the Wilson lift crane, that should be Mojo and Team Australia 2. The blue boat to the left in the marina there is the X-Team 3, Adam Gilbert-owned boat. Commentated that boat over many, many years. Good to see that back out there. That is now Venturi Offshore. Anthony Defina, Matt Kelly, former Australia 1s in the Super Cat outboard class. That boat's out there and running as well. So next to them is the Hornet. So the blue and yellow, that is a brand new boat to Australia. It has raced here in Australia before. And again, Russell told me I wasn't allowed to talk about New Zealand, but that boat has come from New Zealand. Formerly, when it first started racing in the New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship, there were two new 34-foot skaters that came into New Zealand. One was Fairview Windows and Doors, and the other one was originally known as Cure Kids, Tony Coleman and Chris Hanley. Chris Hanley's obviously spent some time over here racing with the Global Boys, amongst other teams. Very, very experienced. I did hear a whisper that Tony Coleman might have been over here this weekend, actually, but haven't seen Tony for a long, long time. So that boat was originally known as Cure Kids. Very, very cool boat. 34-foot skater with a pair of 525 Mercruisers on board, which was our spec class in New Zealand, and at one stage here was like Class 2 for a period of the championship going many, many years ago. Next to there, and you can see how big the big Maritimo 42 is over the 34-foot skater. That's Acme Racing Co. Andrew Searle and Tom Barry Cotter. Now, they've had a few little dramas this morning. They went out for an early run and they had some issues here yesterday as well with getting the boat up onto the plane and up into the RPM band that they need to be in, because as soon as it went under load, they couldn't get the boat up on the plane. So they were chasing some issues through the fuel system. They've replaced fuel filters thinking it might have been fuel. They've sort of dismissed that now. I think they've just done a gear set change in the pits from this morning to now before the start of this race. So the big red Acme Racing Maritimo, hopefully back out on the water. Next to them, the yellow boat, that is the Sting, one of our Supercat outboard class boats. Mike Ratcliffe and Carl Wall, that is a beautifully presented team. Next to them is the little blue and white boat. Now, if you go back a few years, you can remember Team Red Bellies Racing. That's that old boat. This is DLR Offshore, Craig Dove and Lachlan Dove, father and son team. Good to see them out there in Supercat outboard. To their right, that is TCR Racing, TCR Offshore, Scott Richardson and Stephen Kelly. I think Steve's just getting out of the one of the sports boats and jumping into that. And to there, where is Kess Racing, which is the ex-Mantis, ex-Saracen Racing. Just looking on that shot, that should be in there as well. And right up next to our tent area and alongside the crane, the orange, black and white Boost Mobile 22 Offshore Racing. Former world champions, former Australian champions. Now, for this weekend, while I got a little bit of quiet, Steve Jallick's actually jumping alongside Darren Nicholson this weekend. Pete McGrath, Muddy, unfortunately, he's got some battles going on at the moment back up on the Gold Coast. So, Pete, Sue, we're all thinking about you, and would love to have you down here, but, mate, fight it. And I know you've probably been on the text and the messages already to Mark Tolcher with getting that boat rigged up and ready for this weekend. So, yeah, Muddy, from both sides of the Tasman, all our thoughts with you, buddy, and hope you enjoy this race. If we can get all these boats out on the water very, very shortly. We're thinking about you, man. So Mark Tolcher, who's, Mark's the go-to guy with Australian Offshore at the moment because he's rigged that boat. So earlier this year with some of the promo stuff they've done, that boat actually had a pair of 1075 twin supercharged Mercs in it, doing some promo stuff with Boost Mobile amongst other things. So they've re-rigged that to the 510s back in it, built by John Barbagallo, who's a very, very good drag racer. So that boat there is probably around the 800 horsepower per side, so between 1550 and 1600 horsepower for the Supercat Extreme boats. There are some different engines in amongst the Extremes here this weekend with some of the smaller capacity boats. The Team Australia will be running a similar combination with the big Maritimo. And that boat, if you go back, the Team Australia 2 boat, the Brett Lerman boat that's raced all over the place around the world, has been on sale for a little while, but thankfully it's been picked up. And Team Australia 2, Darren Apps and Paul Folds. Foldsy's on the throttles of that boat. We've seen Foldsy and Quasi and the Hulk and all sorts of different boats. He's been very, very busy as well. We're coming back to Mark Tolcher and talking about re-rigging engines. So Mark has re-rigged Boost Mobile. He's re-rigged the X-Team 3 boat, which is now Venturi Racing, because that had 525 Mercruisers in it, and that's now got 565 boats. So that's a little bit bigger in capacity, a little bit more torque for Anthony DeFina and Stephen Kelly. He's also re-rigged the Team Australia boat, and I'm pretty sure there was another one in there as well. So there was sort of 4 boats in the last couple of months that Mark Tolcher's had a hand in re-rigging and getting engines in and engines out and getting sorted for the opening round of the championship. So we've got our 6 Supercat Extremes: Boost Mobile, 222 Racing, Acme Racing, Mojo, of course Todd Kelly, and Stuart Eustace. Stuart Eustace debuting behind the wheel. So Steve Jalek spent a little bit of time with these guys in the boat. And Todd Kelly, 2005 Bathurst Supercars winner, is got into Offshore's late last season, pairing up with Stuart Eustace and Steve Jalek. Venturi Offshore, which is the X-Team 3 boat, Anthony DeFina and Matt Kelly. Hornet Racing, Mick Kelly, Jason Kelly. And Team Australia 2, Darren Apps, Paul Folds. In the Superboat outboard class, we've got Kess Racing, which is the ex-Manta Saracen boat, Steve Lancaster and Scott Kelly. TCR Offshore, Scott Richardson, Stephen Kelly. Geez, there's some Kellys out there. The Sting, Mike Ratcliffe, Carl Wall, and DLR Offshore, Craig Dove and Lachlan Dove. So we're just seeing some movement down there in Empire Marina. It is a fantastic facility here on Lake Macquarie. Some beautiful, beautiful boats in the marina, and today out on the lake as well as spectator boats, and there'll be a couple of party boats out there, I'm sure, as well. So if you're close at hand and around the Newcastle area, we're about an hour, 50 minutes north up the coast from Sydney. About half an hour from Newcastle itself. In fact, I think I can see some of the taller buildings in Newcastle over the backside of the lake from my vantage point here on top of race control. So I can hear the rumble of some of the big inboard V8 boats coming out towards the race course. Scheduled race start in about 7 to 8 minutes. So again, they'll do a formation lap, sighting lap, parade lap, whatever you want to call it. I think I've got some Team Sting supporters down in front of me. You don't know that Carl Wall fella, do you? Racing for Lachlan, of course. Yeah, that's a very, very impressive setup in the pits. All right, let's change my notes over here. I've had the opportunity to commentate this championship before on both sides of the Tasman. The camaraderie across New Zealand and Australia with offshores especially, and I've seen it with jet sprinting and that too, is second to none. Still lots of Kiwis around. Yes, I'm an expat Kiwi, but I live in Australia now. We're up in Brisbane, been up there now for about 8 years. I've commentated rounds here in Australia. This is my 3rd time to Lake Macquarie. I've done Townsville, Bowen, Harvey Bay, a couple of rounds down in Melbourne. One was definitely in Geelong. I can't remember where the other one was. And I've also done one of the races here out of Newcastle, so out of the actual inner harbour, right alongside the city there, on the end of the point where the supercar races used to be. Commentated one out of there as well. So, yeah, we've done a few over here, and obviously over in New Zealand we've had how we got to know the Australians. A lot of the Kiwis came to race over here, and the Aussies come over and race in New Zealand. Team 3. The 222 racing team's been over there, amongst others. So there's a lot of camaraderie on both sides of the Tasman. So There's still a couple of very, very good race boats for sale over in New Zealand at the moment. The ex-Sleepyhead Doosan Outboard Pro Phantom 34 is currently for sale. And there's a very, very good, I think a Doug Wright Supercat outboard boat, Espresso Engineers, Mike Gerbic, who's won a couple of New Zealand championships over there in that boat. That boat's currently for sale as well. So the rumble of the big boats is about to hit Lake Macquarie. A few on debut, a few in new combinations. The familiar with some new combinations. So it did, looks like we did actually have a DNF. I'm just in front of us at race control. So the Deegan Racing combination with that Yamaha Mercury Frankenstein is getting towed back in. So I don't know if they didn't finish or they got towed in after the race, because I can remember calling them towards the end. So Supercat Extreme, Supercat Outboard Race 1. So just the single race for them today. The Supersports 65s and 85s will be back out for a 2 p.m. race start for their second race. And then tomorrow we have 3 more races across all of our divisions. So tomorrow we start an hour earlier. First race is at 11 a.m. for the first race. Second race for Superboat. 12 p.m. for Supersports Race 3. And then 1 p.m. for Superboat Extreme and Supercat Outboard Race 3. So the first time in a long, long time where we've got a full weekend of racing. Team Australia's just come out of the marina. Acme's just come out as well. That'll be TCR on screen and Boost Mobile. I'm sure Muddy's looking on. He'll have the text sliding up with Mark Tolcher. We've got some onboards across these boats throughout the weekend as well, with the Supercat Extremes and Supercat Outboards. So Mark Tolcher's headed up to Key West in Florida midweek. The team are heading up there to race at that famous Key West event up in the US with the second of their boats, Mobile X, which is the sister brand of Boost Mobile up in America. You've seen it on a couple of the NASCAR starts up there with the Aussies going over there and racing. So I hope you're enjoying our coverage so far this morning. Into the early afternoon now here at Lake Macquarie for the first of our Superboat races. 10 boats to face the starter. 6 Supercats Extremes and 4 Supercat Outboards. There's TCR Racing. Now that's a familiar combination from the last couple of seasons. Scott Richardson and Stephen Kelly. Another beautifully presented boat. Mercury 300 XS. Racing onboards, racing outboards on the back of that boat. There's the Team Australia 2 boat going through, the ex-Lerman boat. Now for the old offshore heads, that was a former Maritimo boat called Mustang. I commentated that boat up in Townsville about 12 years ago. It's always cool watching these boats just circulate around, cruising around. They look like sharks in the water. So great to see Todd Kelly. I introduced myself to Todd late yesterday afternoon here. Steve Jallick's been providing a lot of information and helping them out. Very experienced Steve Jallick. I'm the commentary stick for Bisho. Steve Jallick's the offshore stick for anyone that needs to put anyone in a race boat if they're missing someone. Unfortunately for everyone that knows Muddy, Peter McGrath, it's Muddy that's missing. And, yeah, we are thinking about you, big boy. All right, not too far away from getting assembled to start their formation lap. We're just getting some of the rescue boats back out there on the course. A couple of tow-ins off that last one. So here's an onboard. Now, who's that with, I think? That was, I couldn't see who that was off the back of. So this is This is Kess Racing, Steve Lancaster, Scott Kelly. This is the ex-Saracen boat. Who was that on board off? I'm going to guess that is off the back of Boost, I think. There's the Hornet Racing. So this is the ex-Cure kids. Pro Floors, NZ1, and at one stage was Australia 1. Wayne Velder come over from New Zealand and picked up an Australian title in that boat. So a lot of racing history on both sides of the Tasman. I was part of the New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship when that boat debuted at the opening round at Lake Taupo, along with the very, very similar Fairview Windows and Doors 34 skater. This was a 32, the boys were telling me this morning, that was actually stretched out to 34, and the Fairview boat was a 36, shortened down to 34. So we had a 34 spec 525 Mercruiser class in New Zealand, so that was the box everything tried that fit in it. And so no longer than 34, 525 Mercruisers, so 502 cubic inch, fuel injected, big blocks. They don't pull a whole heap of RPM. From memory, I think they were around the sort of 6.3, 6.4 mark. But a very, very cool package. And in unlimited trim, this style of boat with 525 Mercruisers, they were achieving over 130 mile an hour, trimmed out with some of the record stuff they were doing over in New Zealand. So, look, definitely not as quick as the big sort of 1,600 horsepower extreme boats, the big 40s and 42s, and you'll see the size difference between this boat at 34 and that boat lurking in the background, Acme. If they're ever side by side, it's a big, big difference. So Boost Mobile's the biggest of the boats at 12 metres. Acme Race. Oh, actually Mojo at 11. So as we look at the Sting, the Mojo boat, so that boat was formerly the Good Guys out of Mackay. And then I saw the boat, commentated it here as Superbad. Stevie Jalek was part of that team before it changed hands, and Stuart Eustace picked up the boat, and along with Todd Kelly. Todd Kelly decided he wanted to go offshore powerboat racing. Not a bad guy to have in your camp from an engine side of things, because they build all their own engines in-house with their Super 2 supercar team. I think I saw Mason Kelly, Todd's son, who races in Super 2 there last night. So we're not too far away from getting these boats out on their sighting lap. They're just cruising around like sharks at the moment in the background, getting ready to go racing. First race of the new championship for 2025, rolling into 2026. To check out the upcoming rounds, jump onto the Australian Superboat Offshore Facebook page, Offshore Superboats. That's where one of our links for our live streamers today, and Blendline TV YouTube channel and Facebook page. So I'm pretty sure that's an onboard off the back of Boost, I think. Just waiting for Venturi to come out onto the racecourse. Anthony DeFina and Matt Kelly. They were a little bit late getting out of the marina, actually. That'll be a good shot. If that's Boost, there are pole 4. So there are 3 boats outside pole, so that'll be a good shot. So you can just hear Anthony DeFina coming out of the Empire Marina in Venturi, X-Team 3. So that's a victory hull. So speeds around here with some of these extreme boats at around 1,500 to 1,600 horsepower. Here's Venturi. These boats definitely capable of 120 miles an hour. It's a shorter course for them. So in kilometres an hour, 120. 192, so just under 200 kilometres an hour if they're at sort of that 120 mile an hour range. So you might see that sort of coming downhill towards G off Warners Bay. They'll definitely be in that 115 mile an hour plus range. So they'll be relatively tall geared for this race course because it's not huge. It's 6.5 kilometres. Some of the runs between the marks are over a kilometre long. The biggest run will be over the back towards Warners off sort of D and E and along here on the front straight. And they'll have a little bit of lift here on the front straight, which will certainly help. Let's see if Acme gets up on the plane. They've been chasing some dramas. They've made some changes to the boat during the off-season. It's Team Australia 2's just lurking around. So they're going to pick up the start boat. This will be a formation lap, sighting lap, parade lap. We've got lots of people down here on the waterfront. The Empire Marina part side of the course, Marmong Point. So pretty much where the boats are now, that is off the end of Spears Point. Up onto the plane, so hopefully, cross fingers, they've got that sorted. We'll soon see. Seeing where is Boost Mobile. Right, so Acme's just trying to get up onto the plane now. There's Hornet. These guys have been doing a little bit of testing since the boats arrived from New Zealand. So that boat came in with the 525 Mercruisers from New Zealand. I believe they bought a second pair here in Australia out of the Global team boat for spares. They had a little bit of an input shaft problem with one of the I think they're a Mercruiser 6 stern drive. So you get an opportunity to have a look at that boat. It's got 2 stern drives off the back of it. Whereas the bigger Maritimo style boats in the Victory have a central rudder rather than the 2 stern legs driving off each race engine. So they have a prop underneath the boat, obviously. So Acme on board here with, pretty sure that's Boost. So they're just going to cruise around for a sighting lap. Check out the conditions. Hopefully they've made the right prop choice. So yeah, that'll be Boost because that is Venturi just to their inside. And Hornet are just over there to their left as well. So that is definitely Boost Mobiles on board. Mojo's in behind them. And through the rooster tail there, coming past us now is Team Australia 2. And then we'll have our 4 Supercat outboard boats. So they're just cruising around at the moment, nowhere near race speed and getting them up. So these bigger boats are up in the 4.4, 4.5 tonne range. So the big 12-metre boats, they'll be in that sort of range. The 34 boat, from memory with New Zealand, and the boys confirmed it down in the pits, the 34 skaters run out at about 3.2 tonne, but they're down around 1,100 horsepower, 1,050 horsepower compared to close to 1,600 horsepower for the bigger extreme boats with the 510 cubic inch race engines in them. So back on board with Boost as the Supercat lights go past me. So all 10 boats are on the water. First round for the Offshore Superboat Championship in Australia here at Lake Macquarie. Got to say a big thank you to Empire Marina, Lake Macquarie Council, Hornet Property Services and Wilson Lifts. All of our volunteers, Russell Down in Race Control, all of our volunteers with patrol boats, rescue boats, start boats, finish boats. We've got the Maritime Police out there on the water as well. So it looks like Acme looks to be up on the plane. So right at the front of that shot, as Boost's just lit up the props, there is Boost Mobile, Darren Nicholson, and the very experienced Steve Jallick alongside. So Steve's on the throttles. Steve has throttled a lot of boats. He's been the throttle man for Team 3. He's been the throttle man for Superbad. At one stage, he was part of the Maritimo team. There aren't too many boats out there that Steve hasn't been a throttle man on. Expat Kiwi. And to all the Kiwis that are watching our live stream, hi guys. Opening round of the New Zealand Championships has been in the last week or so. Up in Gulf Harbour, which was always a very, very cool race. Unfortunately, they're a little bit down on the bigger boats, but it sounds like they still had an awful lot of fun. Great to see so many regular names still a part of the championship over there. So Hackney's just gone past one of our fixed camera positions over there at Spears Point. Well and truly up on the plane. So they'll make a left-hand turn here and get into their pole line positions. So Acme off the pole. They will be the pole boat. A little bit of separation between them at the moment to get them lined up. So start boat to the inside of the course. So Acme just slows it down. They will be the pole boat. So to the inside of the course. I think the Hornet to their outside. 6 Superboat Extremes. Team Australia 2's a long way back of this lineup to the point that they're going to miss the start by the looks of it. Venturi to the inside. Boost off 4 as they fan out across in front of Marmong Point. Supercat Extreme, race number 1. Mojo with a run on the outside from 5. And we are racing through a wall of water. Mojo closest to the shoreline. That is literally just a wall of water on board with Boost Mobile. Venturi out to the right. Mojo to the left. Team Australia's just come through the line now. They've missed the start, so they've got a little bit of work to do. New combination. Darren Apps and Paul Folds. Paul Folds with a lot of experience on throttles, again with various boats in the Australian Championship over many, many years. So with that pole lineup, that formation had to stay the same until you got overlap up into that B and C mark. So they weren't allowed to change their lines, but now it's all on. Acme trying to get up on the plane. The very experienced Tom Barry Cotter, former Australian champion. He's been doing some consultancy work and helping out some teams up in the US. Looks like they've got the boat back up on the plane. So whatever issue they had and the gearset change they've just made looks to have been sorted because they're up to speed. They're a little bit further back in the lineup and battling there with Venturi by the looks of it. Hornet's got a great start up into 3rd. And how's Mojo? Todd Kelly and Stuart Eustace. So Stuart Eustace, this is his first time racing this boat. He's on the wheel. Todd Kelly's on the throttles as they head down in front of Warners Bay for the first time on the opening lap of our Supercat Extreme and Supercat Outboard race number 1 here at Lake Macquarie. Darren Nicholson on the wheel, Steve Jallick on the throttles, lead in Boost Mobile, 222 Racing. The most amazing setup in the pits with their team truck and their support truck as well. It is an impressive lineup. There's not a lot that team does not have here pitside. So impressed with the start for Eustace and Todd Kelly. And this boat, the Hornet, on debut, Mick and Jason Kelly. And just coming across the line now are our Supercat outboard boats to start their race. They were a long way back off the race start from the big boys, as already Boost Mobile. Geez, these boys are going to have fun because he's going to pick them up 4 wide on the run down to B mark. The Super picked up the lap traffic as we're back on board with Boost. Looking out the back. Now the little outboard boats are going to have to contend with a big roost. It's relatively flat out there at the moment. So the Sting to the outside has got the lead in Supercat outboard. Boost to their inside. That's on the run down to Warner's at E mark. So running right across the front of the Warners Bay foreshore right now, and they're right up against. I can see there's so many people over that part of the course. So Boost has cleared the Sting. The Sting's the easy one to pick up because it's bright, bright yellow. And Boost Mobile already coming downhill towards G&H to complete lap number 2. Muddy's probably on the text about now going to Tolcher. Yeah, I think it's sitting a little bit too high in the water. It's not good enough at the moment. He will be, trust me. But it looks nice and settled at the moment. They got a fantastic start. But again, Todd Kelly and Stuart Eustace. This is Stuart Eustace's first race in this race boat. And they're being chased by the Hornet on debut here this weekend. Not for the first time in Australia, but certainly in these colours. And that boat is presented spectacularly. So it looks like Acme out the back of the course is sort of back up the pace, but the rooster tail's a lot bigger than what we're seeing from Boost at the moment. Last time I commentated here at Lake Macquarie, Boost Mobile actually broke a prop, and the blade of that prop kicked up and actually dug itself took a big chunk out of the stern of the boat. So there's Mojo. Mojo's just about to go by the Sting that's leading Supercat outboard. Carl Wall and Mike Ratcliffe. They've got a little bit of a gap on Kess, TCR, and then we go back to DLR Offshore. But Stuart Eustace and Todd Kelly in the second position at the moment, chasing down a championship, Australian and World Championship driver in Darren Nicholson. So Anthony DeFina going through in Venturi as we watch Mojo. So again, going back a few years ago, this boat was the good guys' boat out of Mackay. Then it was Superbad, which is a great name for a race boat. Very, very impressive setup in the pit area here too. You got Macquarie Telecom on the side of that boat. So the Hornet's just clearing. That's not for position. The Hornet running in Supercat Extreme with a pair of 525 Mercruiser out inboards. I think Acme's just come back into the pit area, so it looked like a couple of times there they got up on the plane, but they've got some other dramas they're chasing. So Acme is in to the pit area here at Empire Marina. You can see how much narrower the skater is to the big Maritimo in front of it there with Mojo and the Hornet. Boost Mobile controlling the lead. So I know Steve Jallick's been talking to Stuart Eustace and Todd Kelly about getting through this first weekend. Lots of communication going on in the boat. Stuart's first weekend racing this boat. The Sting continue to lead Supercat outboard. Back on board with Boost. Right up against that starting boy here in front of us at Empire Marina. Comfortable out in front. I reckon from the first race with the Supersports 65s and 85s, that wind conditions just died down a little bit. Mojo goes through, the Hornet in third. That's a great shot of the Hornet from behind. So off the stern of that boat, it's got a pair of Mercruiser 6 drives, which comes straight off the back of the engines. So you've got, when the boat turns, you've got 2 legs in the water making the turn. With all of the other Supercat Extreme boats, they have a single rudder in the centre of the boat. So the boats still run the props, but they run through the bottom of the boat, not through the stern drives, and it has a centre rudder for a single steering point. Quite different to have a look at between those boats in the pit area here at Empire Marina. As we watch it, Mojo make the run off D on the run down to E. So just running past a little suburb there called Alibana. I'm probably saying that wrong, but anyway. Definitely on the way down to Warners Bay. I can't get that one wrong. Just coming up to the 9-minute mark in, so still 21 minutes left to go here. With now boats spread out all over the racecourse, just one in the pits, Acme unfortunately. They're continuing dramas, trying to get the boat up onto the plane. So whether it's a rev limitation issue or a drive issue, I know they changed the gear set. It certainly looked a lot better at the start of that race, but they might be chasing some other problems around it. As we watch Mojo here. Very, very familiar boat in Australian offshore racing for so many years. Boat number 15, 2005 Bathurst winner Todd Kelly on the throttles. So on the throttles, he's obviously got the throttles for both engines on each side of the boat. He's also got the trim settings. So where that boat's sitting in the water. And they're doing a pretty good job out there right now. Actually, Hornet's not too far behind them. Just out the corner of my eye. So Mojo making the run off H and I. So that's pretty much the tightest corner. So you're coming off that downhill run downwind. So Mojo in second, just looking at the lap times, Boost Mobile 2:28, 2:30. Mojo's last lap was a 2:32, 2:38 the previous one. Hornet 2:33, 2:37, so 2:33 for the last lap. So it was only 4 to 5 seconds sort of difference between the top three boats and their outright lap times. So the rest of the guys are sort of still trying to get used to their stuff. Supercat lights. Leader's just coming past me now. The Sting. That's running a pair of the new 300R Mercury outboards, 4-stroke, 300 horsepower V8s. They're a big power head. It sounds very, very different. I'm used to hearing the familiar 2-stroke 300 XSs and that on the back of these boats. As we go back to the Hornet. Kess Racing and TCR continuing their battle as they just go past us here at Race Control. The Hornets within probably 7 to 8 seconds of Mojo for second overall, so the 525s are humming in that boat. And that's a good effort to sort of be not too far away from a boat swinging a pair of 510s and close to 1600 horsepower. But the advantage for Hornet is they're probably a good ton lighter than the big Maritimo. I was talking to Paul Folds this morning and just asking about the various weights, and the big boys are around that 4.4 ton mark. And I know from the New Zealand days when it was Cure Kids and Pro Floors, they were around the 3.2 ton mark. So the other one that I've missed just in the last 5 minutes is Venturi Racing. I haven't seen Venturi offshore for a little while. They're actually parked out the back on the run down to Warners. So Boost Mobile comes through past us here at the Marina. Doing it easily. They're about to put Team Australia 2 down a lap. Here comes Mojo, and not too far behind them, Hornet. So just coming into shot now is Mojo, running right in the wake of Boost. There is Venturi. So Venturi's on the inside of the course between D and E. So Anthony Defina and Matt Kelly having some issues on debut with the X-Team 3. Venturi, one of the rescue crews, just going over to assess what's going on there and see if they need a tow. So a couple of the big boats out of this one already. Acme's back in the Marina. They've been chasing problems for the last couple of days, talking to Andrew Searle. Great to have the surname back in the sport. His dad Steve was a long-time runner, campaigner in offshores over many, many years. They had a big skater called Acme. So the family's in the composite business, carbon fibre and fiberglass work. They're up there with some of the best in Australia. Andrew's a very, very good funny car racer. I actually got to interview him at Willowbank 3 years ago, where he finished second at the Winter Nationals. And it was the funniest thing, him getting out of the car, getting him to try and not swear on the interview. Because for those that know Andrew, he's very colourful. Definitely very, very colourful. This is Team Australia 2, the ex-Brett Lerman boat. Great to see this boat back out there. Formerly raced in Australia many, many years ago out of the Maritimo stable as Mustang. So we're back on board with Boost Mobile. Team Australia, Darren Apps and Paul Folds. These Boost slipping down the inside. That'll be Team Australia just up ahead. So they were just running through their wash. Look at that wall of water on acceleration for Team Australia. Somewhere through there is Boost Mobile. Let's have a look at this lap for Boost Mobile. Yeah, 2:29 the last lap. So the last 3 laps for Boost have been 2:30, 2:28, 2:29. So within a second over the last 3 laps. So Team Australia goes down a lap. Boost Mobile leading Supercat Extreme. The Sting leading Supercat Outboard. So the Boost just made the turn at B, and Mojo's just crossing the line now. So that gap's probably around the 30-second mark. And only probably 10 back is the Hornet, which looks tiny compared to the big 40-plus foot boats. But that's a 34, and he's just put the DLR Offshore Supercat outboard boat down a lap. So there's Mojo going around the B and C mark. And there goes the Hornet there now. So it's 8 to 10 seconds. The boys in the Hornet are doing an awesome job, but I'm super impressed. Stuart Eustace, his first time racing this boat, and I know between him and even Todd Kelly, there were a few nerves going on, but they've had Steve Jalek communicating with them and basically telling them what to do and what not to do. I think just watching the Team Australia boat out the back of the course, they might have a little trim issue going on, because that's pushing up a lot of water out the back of the boat. A lot higher than, say, Boost and acceleration. And as a combination, it's those two guys' first time in the boat in race conditions as well. So Darren Apps and Paul Folds, they did a little bit of testing here yesterday. So 16 minutes 50, we're over the halfway mark. We concentrate here on 222 Racing, Boost Mobile. Absolutely stunningly presented team and race boat. As the drone's over above the Sting. So the Sting's just made the run at B, and TCR and Kess Racing have just crossed the line now. So they're similarly Mojo to Boost, the Sting to TCR and Kess about 30 seconds back. Boost Mobile completes another lap. That lap was a 2:27. So the last 4 laps, 2:31, 2:28, 2:29, 2:27 for Boost Mobile. TCR, they're battling with Kess Racing for second and third, and Superboat Cat outboard. Kess Racing's just got a little advantage now ahead of them. So TCR back into the third position. Scotty Richardson and Stephen Kelly. How many Kellys have we got out there in this field? Let's have a look at the last laps for Mojo and Hornet Racing. Hornet Racing picked up a couple of seconds on that last lap, a 2:31 versus a 2:33. So Boost Mobile got the best of the starts. Then he had to contend with the Supercat outboard boats making their start, and they were 4 wide on the approach down to B. off their race start, which was a lot further back than I would have thought for them. Usually they aren't too far off the back of the Supercat boys, but I'm just wondering if Andrew Searle was trying to keep the big Acme boat up on the plane to stop it getting off the plane with the dramas they've been having, and they probably got away a little bit from some of them further down the track. So Boost Mobile's just clearing TCR, that's down off Warner's. Just up ahead of them is Kess Racing, the ex-Saracen Mantis. Pretty much ideal conditions as that breeze has just picked back up again a little bit in the last couple of minutes. So back on board with Boost, just out to their right, not too far away will be Kess Racing. No such thing as a rear vision mirror. They'll have an onboard camera looking rearward and out back of the boat to see what's coming up with some of the smaller capacity boats. So we should see Boost going by Kess about now. Right here in front of us at race control. Boost Mobile and the very well presented Kess Racing. Boost Mobile's last lap was a 2:30. TCR goes across the line there just to the left of where Boost's just gone through. So interesting there, TCR actually running in the dirty water. They're not running down the wake that's just been left by the boats ahead of them. TCR making the run down at B and C. Mojo has just lapped Team Australia 2 with Hornet again, not too far behind. Mojo's last lap was a 2:33. Hornet Racing's last lap was a 2:33. There's the lap scoring up on the screen, so you can actually see their last laps on the boards there. So 2:30 for Boost, 2:33 for Mojo and Hornet. Again, I can't say enough about how impressed I am with both Mojo and Hornet in this race. Brand new combinations for both boats. I know Todd Kelly's been in that boat towards the end of last season. Actually won a couple of races, I think, at Geelong with some of the dramas for some of the other boats and that around them. And he was paired up with Steve Jellick. I assume Todd was on the wheel and Stevie J was on the throttles for that one. So Team Australia 2 back in the 4th position. So we've lost 2 of the Superboat Extremes. Venturi's parked out there on the inside of the course. Mojo's just gone by them. Hornet's about to go by them. Hornet's lost a little bit of time just on this last half a lap. Just contending with going around Team Australia 2 here. So they've lost a little bit of time to Mojo. It'll be interesting to see what their next laps will be, because I reckon Hornet's lost the better part of probably at least 7 or 8 seconds somewhere over their backside of the course off B. So it's still the Sting leading Supercat outboard, about to go down a lap to Boost. Boost leading Supercat Extreme from this boat, Mojo. Cool looking boat, and arguably this boat's had some of the best names. Superbad and Mojo, 2 great names for race boats. Stuart Eustace is doing an unbelievable job for his first time ever in Australian offshore. Todd Kelly's definitely got a lot of experience, but not necessarily in a boat like this. He's done a couple of meetings. Very, very experienced in motor racing circles, of course. So we're just coming up to 23 minutes. 7 minutes left to go in this first race for Supercat Extreme. A little bit of work to do for a couple of the teams in the pit area tonight, but they do have a bit of time. It's not like they're trying to turn around within a couple of hours to come back out and race this afternoon. We'll have 2 races for the Superboats tomorrow. So let's have a look at these laps. So Hornet's just gone through, 2:37. So it was about 4 seconds. I thought it was a little bit more, but they've definitely lost 4 seconds on that last lap. Boost went through at 2:27, so off a back of 2:27s for Boost. Mojo at a 2:33, a 2:33. Hornet a 2:37 versus a 2:31. So they're actually 6 seconds slower than the previous lap. So it was that 6 to 8 I thought it was when I was watching them over the backside of the course. So we've got about 6 minutes left to go here. And in about 25 minutes, we'll have our third race out on the water, and that'll be race 2 for Supersports 65 and 85. Mojo rounds up TCR. You can see the speed difference between a 600 horsepower twin outboard rigged boat versus between 15 and 1600 horsepower from a boat swinging a pair of 510 cubic inch big block Chevys in it. So Boost extending their race lead. Darren Nicholson, former world champ, former Australian champ, paired with Pete Muddy McGrath. I don't know that Pete's got too much to complain about at the moment because Stevie Jallick's doing a pretty good job, and another Kiwi replacing another Kiwi. Hopefully not for long, Muddy. Love these drone shots too. Some very, very cool shots right around this race course with the Blend TV boys. So back in the day, we used to get these overhead shots with helicopters, and in a lot of cases, the helicopters weren't fast enough to keep up with the race boats. Especially the little Robinson R44s. Had some very, very good cameramen with some of the stuff we've done on both sides of the Tasman, hanging out the sides of helicopters chasing race boats. So there's Kess Racing just to the outside of Mojo. So Mojo's about to put another lap down on Kess here on the front straight, right past us in front of us in race control. Last lap for Mojo. They just backed up a little bit to a 2:35, but as I said about 10 minutes ago, that wind conditions just changed slightly. It's a little bit more gusty. Hornet's last lap was a 2:34. Fastest lap of the race, I think a 2:27 for Boost Mobile. And they're just reeling off laps effortlessly at the moment. So no dramas for Boost. Mojo, Hornet, 1, 2 and 3. Team Australia just finding their feet, currently in 4th. Boat just went past me and it sounded a little bit fluffy. If there was a little misfire going on there with that boat, I wouldn't be surprised. It didn't sound quite right. It's Mojo make that swing around G mark down towards Spears Point. Inside 3 minutes, just about 3 minutes coming up. We're at 26, 53, 54. And 3 minutes left to go in 2, 1, 3 minutes left to go. So probably another 2 laps. Maybe 1 if Darren decides to back it up a little bit. Boost Mobile doing it pretty comfortably. Darren Nicholson on the wheel. Steve Jallick on the throttle. Kess Racing on debut with this combination in a new boat for them. Steve Lancaster, Scott Kelly. So they are in 2nd in Supercat outboard. A little bit of traffic around them. They've just lapped the DLR offshore team of Craig Dove and Lachlan Dove, father and son combination, and they're about to be gobbled up by Hornet Racing as Hornet clears DLR, and Hornet will look to go down the inside of Kess. Actually just rolling out of the throttle a little bit. I think they're going to let Kess maybe go through there first. So that's a skater hull, originally built in the US. Hornet Racing goes to the inside of Kess. That was a fairly aggressive turn there by the boys in Hornet Racing. Mick Kelly and Jason Kelly. So coming up to the 29-minute mark. So we might see a checkered flag on this lap now, I reckon. We're just over a minute away. And Booster's over at Warners Bay currently. So they're going to make this downward run and back down here onto the waterfront. So they've got about a minute to clear that. So they don't have to do another lap, which I'm sure they're not too worried about. So we're back on board with the race leader, Boost Mobile, 222 Offshore Racing. Boost Mobile from Mojo, Hornet, Team Australia. Sting leads Supercat Outboard from Kess Racing, TCR and DLR Offshore. DNS for Acme, back in the Empire Marina pit area. And Venturi Offshore, they are parked out there on the race course. I think they're now under tow from one of the rescue boats heading back towards us. So pretty much off the back of this one, we will have our second race for the day for the Supersports 65s and 85s. We're about 20 seconds away from the race finish. Boost Mobile with about 15 to go. And if they time this right, they won't have to do another lap, which is what I think they might be doing. Are we going to see a checkered flag? No, we're not. Oh, yes, we did. It was literally, I reckon Nicholson's timed that to the second. It went up very, very late. I think Russell and Race Control was sweating on that one because for a moment there, I thought they were going to do another lap because it was literally on the 30-minute mark as they made the run through the checkered flag boys here in front of us at Race Control and commentary. So Darren Nicholson and Steve Jalek take the win in Boost Mobile, 222 Offshore Racing. Second, and this is a great performance, on debut, Stuart Eustace driving for the first time in Australian offshore in his new boat alongside V8 Supercar star Todd Kelly. The Sting's going to take out Supercat Outboard before they get to the line, so the Sting definitely takes Supercat Outboard. And Mojo, second in Supercat Extreme. That's a fantastic effort, and equally as impressive, the Hornet Racing team. Mick Kelly and Jason Kelly. Mick on the wheel, Jason on the throttles. That's impressive for a 525 Mercruiser combination up against the big 510s open race engines. They're a 525, 502 cubic inch Mercruiser crate engine, basically. Second for Supercat Outboard is Kess Racing. Steve Lancaster and Scott Kelly. They've just crossed the line now. We're still waiting for Team Australia to come through. So Boost, Mojo, Hornet, 1, 2 and 3 in Supercat Extreme. Team Australia's just heading towards us now for fourth overall. I think they've had a couple of little issues during the race. I don't think it sounded 100 the last time it went past. Although it did sound all right going past them, but it was a little bit down on throttle, obviously, as they crossed the line. So Boost, Mojo, Hornet Racing, Team Australia. The Sting take out Supercat Outboard, 5th overall. Kess Racing, 6th overall and 2nd in Supercat Outboard. TCR Racing will be 3rd as they cross the line now. And just the one boat left out on the race course, and it should be DLR Racing, and they have already crossed the line. So DLR will be 4th in Supercat Outboard. So that completes our second race of the day. We've got Supersports 65 and Supersports 85 coming back out of the marina very, very shortly for their second race and the third and final race of today. We have 3 more races tomorrow. 2 races for the Supercat Extremes and Supercat Outboards, and 1 more race for the Supersports 65s and 85s. So a big weekend of racing here at Lake Macquarie. Beautiful conditions, a little bit of a breeze, but we do have some sunshine over the top of us. And that was a pretty good hit out for some of these teams early. Dramas for Venturi Racing and Acme. But they do have overnight to try and get those boats turned around with whatever issues they've had in this first race for the Australian Superboat Championships here on the beautiful Lake Macquarie. So congratulations to Darren Nicholson and Steve Jalek in Boost Mobile, 222 Offshore Racing, and the Sting Mike Ratcliffe and Carl Wall taking out Supercat outboard for this first race of the weekend here at Lake Macquarie, with a big thank you to Empire Marina, the Lake Macquarie Council, Hornet Property Service and Wilson Lift. So that wind's definitely picked up in the last 10 or so minutes. So we've got a little bit of a clean-up to do with towing Venturi back in. But we'll have some Supersports 65s and 85 boats out on the water very, very shortly. And if you are sort of around this part of the world, around Newcastle, even if you're in Sydney at the moment and you want to come down and check out these boats, a lot of access available here at Empire Marina with the boats in and out of the water off the crane, with thanks to Wilson Lift. It is really cool to see these boats being craned in and out of the water because they are huge, absolutely huge, some of them. And there will be definitely a little bit of work going on pit side. Acme, those boys, and the Venturi boys that are getting towed back in. So I'll find out a little bit later on what's gone on with them this afternoon into tomorrow's racing. So the Supercat Extremes and Supercat Outboards have 2 races tomorrow to conclude the first round here at Lake Macquarie. So there's still a lot of racing to go. Just giving a wave out to the boys in the Sting. Carl and Mike will be happy. Mercury 300R V8 4-strokes. An impressive looking power head on the back of that boat. That is a very, very impressive setup they've got in the pits as well. I think they've got their own bar. But for me, I think the players of the day, look, aside from Boost Mobile, we know how fast Darren Nicholson is and how competitive Darren Nicholson is, let alone Stevie J. The team from Mojo and Hornet Racing, outstanding efforts first up. The boys will be happy with that one. And hopefully not too much work to do going into tomorrow's racing other than just servicing, refueling, checking out things. So we've still got some more racing to go this afternoon. Supersport 65s and Supersport 85s not too far away. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break and grab some water. I will be back very, very shortly.
Empire Marina in Marmong Point, Lake Macquarie. We've got the Lake Mac Action Fest, and the staple of the weekend is the Superboat. So everyone's ecstatic, excited to see them roaring around Lake Macquarie once again. The Superboats weekend has been a staple, a part of our calendar for many years, and the residents love it, the tourists love it, so it brings a lot of economic opportunity for the city, and as the Mayor, excited to put it forward and make sure that it's a rip-roaring success. I've drawn the lucky straw of going for a run in one of the Superboats, so lifelong dream of most people, mine included, so can't wait to get out and about on Lake Macquarie. Phenomenal experience to be racing across Lake Macquarie in a superboat. A boyhood dream just came true. So I think we got up to about 80 miles an hour, so I think it was just cruising in terms of its capacity. But yeah, definitely a thrill for a novice like myself as the local mayor of Lake Macquarie. Having the superboats here, it really is becoming a staple of the Lake Macquarie Action Fest. We've got the superboats, we've got the power boats, we've got the local Morissette Lake Macquarie show. We've got the Let's Surf competition, and of course we've got the Fernley 15. But yeah, the real staple of the weekend has been the superboats and the power boats, and looking forward to people coming out and supporting it once again this year in 2025.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are not too far away for our next race start, and it would be race 2 for Supersports 65 and 85 mile an hour. I haven't heard of any issues from the first race, so I won't even go there if I haven't got the information. So, as per the results as they cross the line for the time being, we are about half an hour south/inland from Newcastle. Course here at Lake Macquarie, 6.53 kilometres long. The start-finish line is on the Marmong Point side of Lake Macquarie, and the F mark and E mark are over at Warners Bay. So 9 turns, race duration 30 minutes for each of the races. First time I've ever had a track map on an offshore powerboat race live. Thanks, boys. So yeah, some great shots. We've got pretty beautiful weather actually. So early 20s temperature-wise. There's a bit of a breeze, which is sort of varying in direction a little bit. It's sort of at the moment it's sort of more from the south, but it has been sort of coming across the lake, which would be from, I don't know, the west. I have no idea directionally where I am, but certainly as I stand here at Marmong Point, to my immediate left is north. So it's sort of definitely from that south sort of west direction. I don't know how many knots it is or whatever, but it's enough to have a little chop on the water. Not a flat water, no wind race at all by any way, shape of imagination, but pretty much ideal conditions for powerboat racing here at Lake Macquarie. So got to say a big thank you to Empire Marina, Lake Macquarie Council, Hornet Property Service, Wilson Lift. I think you saw a piece there with the mayor going out in one of the race boats a little bit earlier on this weekend, which is cool. Without the local councils, these events do not happen, and we've raced at some fantastic places around Australia over many, many years. The Australian Offshore Powerboat Championship traditionally has been very, very strong, to the point that we can send teams up into the US and Europe for various things and be very, very competitive, i.e. Darren Nicholson, who's raced in both Supercat Extreme, I think it was, championship there, and won a world championship up in the US with the second of their team boats that's up there, and we'll be back in action in the next 2 weeks up at Key West in Florida, which is a really, really popular event, and a lot of Aussies and Kiwis go over to that event because it is such a big boat race with some absolutely amazing boats up there that are very, very competitive and very, very fast. I just recently, so there was an event, Lake of the Ozarks or something up in the US, and I think the turbine boats are banned from offshore racing as a category, but as an exhibition thing and speed record stuff, there's still some around. So the new owner of the IHRA Drag Racing Association in the US has bought one of the old Qatar boats that Steve Curtis was throttle man on. One of the old Spirit of Qatar boats that had already gone 230 plus miles an hour with a pair of 3,500 horsepower jet turbines in the back of it. They went 244 miles an hour at this event on a lake in the last few months, which is just insane. So a 50-foot Mystic, so bigger than some of the boats we've seen here today already, 50-foot Mystic with a pair of 4,000 horsepower jet turbines in the back of it at 244 miles an hour. Now, for those in a metric conversion, 244 miles an hour, hang on, I've just messed that up, 244 times 1.6, 390 kilometres an hour. That's insane, absolutely insane. So yeah, that's some of the cool stuff that happens around the world with the sport of offshore powerboating. And it all starts here with these smaller category boats that are very, very popular in the sport in New Zealand. They've just come off their first round at Gulf Harbour on the other side of Auckland Harbour in the last week or two over there in NZ for the opening round of the New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship. They had a couple of 600 boats running over there, but the majority of their lineups were the smaller category boats, and a few names coming back into the sport over there that have been quite familiar with New Zealand offshore powerboat racing. So it's, as I said, the camaraderie between New Zealand and Australian offshore over many, many years has been very, very strong, to the point that there's now some of the old Kiwi race boats running over here now. There's a few expat Kiwis involved in the sport, and even a dumb old commentator like me still part of it over on this side of the Tasman now that I live over here. And thank you, Bisho, for not being here this weekend, because it's been cool catching up with a lot of our friends and families within the offshore community here in Australia for the opening round here at Lake Macquarie. And not while I'm here, well, the reason that I'm here, and I'm going to just go on about Lake Macquarie, I absolutely love this place. I think it's a part of Australia that I would dearly love moving to at some stage in my life, because it is a very, very neat part of the world. And I reckon one of the best venues for offshore powerboating anywhere in the world. It is absolutely spectacular. So thank you for having us, Lake Macquarie. And I'm not saying it because I'm here and, it's Lake Macquarie. I genuinely, really, really love this place. So thanks for having us back. It's my third time back here. And I would love to be coming back here for many, many years to come. We are not too far away. These boats are getting assembled out there. The Colonel's just heading out onto the water. Haven't heard of too many dramas. Only the one boat that got towed in at the end of that last race, and that was Deegan, Zach Gould and Michael Agius. Don't know if they've made it back out there. We should have 13 boats. 11... 12, I think I can count 11 at the moment, so there might be a couple missing, there might be one missing, and it might be the Deegan boat that's missing. So I'll just do a quick count up again as we're, geez, the Razorback boys, they had some dramas in that last one with a bit of chime walking going on. So I can count 11 boats out there at the moment, so we might be missing a couple. So the first race for Supersports 65 was won by All Coast Marine, Aaron Jackson. And that was an impressive performance. And the Supersports 85 category is won by TR Racing. The big 575 cubic inch Mercruiser twin turbo 1800 horsepower Force 21 weapon. Here's a mouthful. So we might be down a couple by the looks of it. Deegan. And we'll just go through the rest and just see if I can pick up who the other one that might be missing is. Thunderstruck should be out there. That's definitely the Colonel Racing. So they were second from memory in the first race. Harry Backer and Steve Kelly. Don't know if Steve's back in there this time because Steve was just out in one of the Supercats. So again, another sighting lap, parade lap, formation lap, whatever you want to call it. We always used to call it a sighting lap. Oh, that was the other race. Oh, the other race I've been to here in Australia, I didn't commentate, was actually in the bay alongside Brisbane Airport off Redcliffe. I remember that one now. That was a long time ago. So we've got TR Racing, we've got Skater 28, we've got the 36 of Water Sports Marine. Now, who was the fourth boat in there? We might be missing Thunderstruck, potentially. I think Thunderstruck might be missing the lineup. With the Sports 65s, Supersports 65s, I think they're all back out there. Oh, no, so Deegan's definitely missing. So they're down to 7. So Deegan's missing from them. And there's one missing. I think it might be Thunderstruck. So I'll pick them up as they come back around. But it looks like we're missing a couple from the first race earlier on today. So this is race 2 for 65 and 85 mile an hour Supersport. They'll have a third and final race tomorrow in between the two Supercat outboard and extreme races. So we've got 2 more races for the big boats tomorrow. I'll head back down to the pits after this and just cover off what's gone on with Venturi and Acme and what they've got to do to get back out on the water tomorrow after their dramas in race number 1. So sighting lap for 65 and 85. And again, half an hour. So as I said a little bit earlier on, explaining the rules with what is a limited category. So a little bit similar to like if you're in drag racing, which the Acme team are definitely well adhered to with Andrew Searle and one of the crew guys on there's crewed for Pete Caperis in the past. Like dial your own. So you nominate a time and you're not allowed to go faster than that time. So this is similar, but these boats all have an onboard GPS supplied by Australian Offshore. They are on board the boat. They do not lie. And if you exceed that, you are in a little bit of a pickle. So if you exceed the 65 or 85 mile an hour limit by half a mile an hour, you get a 30-second time penalty. If you exceed it by 0.99, so under 1 mile an hour over, you get a 1 minute penalty. And if you hit 86 mile an hour full stop, you're done. You get disqualified post-race. So it's critical with your management that you've got to be on top of what you're doing. So we've definitely got 4 out there for Supersport 85, and we've got 7 out there for Supersport 65. So 1 missing from the 85 mile an hour class and 1 missing from the 65. The 65 I can definitely say is Deegan. I think Thunderstruck is missing from the 85 mile an hour lineup, because Colonel's definitely gone through, Skater 28 went through, TR Racing went through, and the 36 of Watersports Marine definitely went through. So pretty sure it's Thunderstruck that's missing this one, and Deegan from the 65 mile an hour class. So lots to do around Lake Macquarie. There's lots of pubs and bars. I'm staying at the Warners Bay Hotel, at dinner there last night. Very, very impressive. Last time I was here, I don't think they had the new changes to the restaurant, so it's a lot bigger than I remember it. Might have dinner tonight at Pippi's on the Point. Might be the go for dinner tonight, I'm thinking. Fly back out of here tomorrow afternoon after the racing here to conclude the opening round on Lake Macquarie. Flew into Newcastle last night just before the storm. I think Brisbane, where I'm based out of, Brisbane and Ipswich are copping one this afternoon. So, all right, so these boats just making their run down towards Spears Point off the G mark, the G buoy. So we've got 4 in Supersport 85. Definitely the Colonel, Skater 28, TR Racing, and Watersports Marine over there on the far side. So the Colonel looks to have drawn the pole for this one. So yeah, we're missing Thunderstruck. DNS Race 2. And in the Supersport 65 class, a little bit further back for their race start, we are missing Deegan, Zach Gould and Michael Agius. So Thunderstruck, Darren Penfold's had an issue. That was an Evinrude 302 stroke powered boat. All right, getting ready for a race start. They'll pull up alongside our start boat. Got the A mark here in front of us, and then the finish line, and then the start line is the 2 orange boys just up ahead of that. Has anyone got anything for TR Racing after their dominance in race number 1? The inboard ski boat up against the twin-rigged Mercs and the single-rig 36 of Watersport Marine, so that's one of the new Mercury 450 4-strokes. And we go racing with the 85s. Geez, that 575 gets up to speed so fast. And here we go with our Supersports 65 class. 13 out to the early front-running Valentis. Finished 3rd in race number 1, being chased by the 111, closest to shore off the race start, and that was All Coast Marine Aaron Jackson, who won race number 1 for Supersport 65. So our 3rd and final race of today is on the go. 3 more races left here to go tomorrow. Same place to watch with Blendline TV on their YouTube channel and Facebook page, and the Offshore Powerboat Australia Facebook page as well. And if you click on any links that ask for money, don't click on those links. It is a free service with the live stream for the Australian Powerboat Championship. All right, so the Colonel looking to make a better start. They didn't get a very good start in the previous race. They're battling there with the similar Skater 28, original name for a race boat. It is a Skater and it's 28 feet long. both rigged with a pair of Mercury outboards. I think the 200 XS is on Colonel Racing and the 300 XS is on Skater 28, up against 575 cubic inches of twin-turbo quad-cam 18 horsepower Mercruiser big block in a ski boat that's very, very quick. The acceleration of that boat is stunning. Like, they're all up to the same speed now. They'll be at 85 mile an hour, but TR Racing just gets the advantage off the start, and I would say probably some of the tighter turns as well, which is a big difference, as we've got some of the Supersports 65 boats running side by side over the back of the course. Make this battles right across that Supersports 65 class. That's the 72 Power Marine, Patrick Benici. So Patrick was narrowly pipped for the win in the previous one. That's Valentis to the outside. You can see how much bigger the Valentis boat is. So they're just making their run down past Warners Bay now. Should be able to see with that shot just how many people are assembled on the waterfront there. They've got markets over there as we lose it through the trees. Just making their run off the F mark, off the Warners Bay waterfront. But yeah, there's been a lot of people over there today. They've got a very popular market day there, food trucks and all that. I think they were taking a feed from our commentary over there today as well, because we've got a localised FM frequency, 88.9 FM. So if you're sitting around the bay in your car, you can sit there and listen to the commentary as well. So TR Racing's just gone through to complete lap number 1 and lead Supersport 85 from Skater 28, Colonel Racing, and then it will be the 36 of Watersports Marine. It's the Sports 65 boats. Watersports Marine just going through that. Very different sounding 450 horsepower Mercury outboard 4-stroke. The 4-strokes certainly sound very, very different to the old traditional 2-strokes. A lot of places around the world now, I know over in New Zealand, you're not even allowed to put a 2-stroke boat on some of the lakes, some of the freshwater lakes now. So our leader in Supersport 65 will be the 72 Power Marine. So this is a Force F19X Yamaha 200 4-stroke. So the Sport 65 class, pretty close together on the opening lap. It's the Razorcraft boats. Entry goes through Antonio Fasolari in Nutcase. Just past here us at race control. So that's our Sports 65 leaders. So Power Marine, Valentis, All Coast Marine. So All Coast Marine is that big red hull deep V boat. So more of a family style / fishing boat, because Aaron Jackson won the first race, and he does this race standing up because there's no seat. There's no seat in that boat. So he does the whole race standing up, trying to monitor the fact that it's not allowed to exceed 65 mile an hour. There's Jackson now, the All Coast Marine number 111. I couldn't see the race number on the side of the boat earlier on this morning with our first race, and I think it's got 3 silver stripes of race tape. There it is there. I think it's just simply 3 silver stripes of race tape to give it a race number. That's got a 450 horsepower 4-stroke Yamaha on it as well, so it cranks along all right. You did well enough to win the first race of the weekend for the Supersports 65s. So TR Racing still your race leader overall in 85 mile from Colonel Racing. In fact, no, it'll be Skater 28, Colonel back to 3rd now by the looks of it. This is Cardiac Arrest. So Cardiac Arrest is running 4th in Supersport 60. There's a cool name for a race boat. So that's one of the big coup de crafts that we've seen come into the Australian Powerboat Championship over the last few years. Charlie D'Orio and Greg Walters. Very, very popular fishing boat around Australia. So that's another 4-stroke combination. That's a 4.2 litre V6 Yamaha 4-stroke running in that boat. So we've got 2 strokes, we've got 4 strokes, we've got twin rigs, we've got single rigs, we've got inboard big blocks. Very, very diverse across 65 and 85 mile an hour. Now, I reckon we've actually lost the 28 Skater 28, or has it just gone through and I've missed it? I'm just having a bit of a scan around because I thought Colonel, oh no, Skater 28's out there. It went through, I just missed it going through. So Skater 28, just the second boat in that shot actually, that's around the bottom mark at B and C. So there is Skater 28. Thank you guys. I missed it going past me. And when I looked to my left and saw Colonel, it was down behind the trees down into the bottom H and I mark. So Skater 28 in the second position. Last lap for TR Racing was a 3:04. Skater 28 a 3:07. Colonel Racing lost a lot of time on that last lap. Last lap was a 3:24. So Colonel Racing having some sort of drama out there on that last lap because they've lost a heap of ground. Water Sports Marine last lap was a 3:18 with the 454 stroke. So there's a little bit more spread out across the Supersport 85 class. As we watch Skater 28 in the second position. 72 goes past me now here at Race Control. Power Marine. Like they did early in race number 1, leading away from Valentis and All Coast Marine. Skater 28 just making their run off Warners Bay. See the people on the waterfront there in the background of that shot. Vantage points right around this race course and all the different points and bays right around. So Skater 28 second, chasing down TR Racing. Team 38 Offshore's just gone past me here at Race Control. So they're the 7th of the boats running in Supersports 65. So TR Racing, Skater 28, Colonel Racing 1, 2 and 3 in Sports 85, and Power Marine, Valentis and All Coast Marine 1, 2 and 3 in Supersports 65. Concentrate here on Skater 28. Originally that would have come out of the same factory as what we saw in the Superboat Extreme class with Hornet Racing over in the USA. Skater's a very, very big name in power boating out of the US for many, many years. We've seen some big skaters down in this part of the world. Acme's big extreme boat in the past has been a big skater. Hard to say a 34-foot skater is a small boat, but it is compared to some of these Superboat Extremes. This is another one of the skaters, Colonel Racing. So that's a 24-footer, so that's a little bit smaller. That boat's done a lot of racing around Australia over many, many years. Beautifully presented. Hornet plumbing on the back of the boat. There's Hornet stickers all over the pits down here at Lake Macquarie and Empire Marina. So Colonel Racing, Harry Backer, and, well, Steve Kelly was sitting in the jockey seat in race 1. I'm not too sure if it's Steve out there this time because I've lost count of how many Kellys there are across this field. They're everywhere. Just about everywhere. Here is our Supersport 65 leader. 72 Force F19. So that's a 19 Force. Well, you pretty much say it's a ski boat. 200 horsepower Yamaha 4-stroke, Patrick Benici. Just hearing on race radio that there is a towboat required for someone, so I'm just going to have a bit of a scan around and see if I can see if anyone's parked up. Just trying this. It might have been down at B mark, I'm not too sure, but Anyway, we are over 11 minutes into this third and final race today. Half an hour, timed race, 30 minutes. TR Racing, still from Skater 28, Colonel Racing. And in Supersport 65, Power Marine, Valentis and All Coast Marine. Here is our Supersport 65 leader. Going past us here at race control. A little wave as they go by. So Patrick looks like he's got someone in with him this time. I think he was by himself the first time. Valentis goes through. Patrick Pakskowski. And then the upstanding Aaron Jackson in All Coast Marine. Cardiac Arrest going through there in fourth. Then we go back to Nutcase, Antonio Fazzolari. And he's about to go down a lap to our Supersport 85 race leader. He's just backed off the throttle a little bit. Oh, he doesn't need to back off too much because Skater 28 is definitely closing the gap to the race leader. Quite a bit of traffic down here on the front straight on the run down to the B mark. Now, as I said, I just heard a little whisper that there was a towboat required at one of the marks. I can't quite see down to B, but there does look to be one of the rescue boats heading down there. Just trying to figure out who it might be as Colonel Racing comes through. So that last lap was 12 seconds faster than their previous lap. So they must have had a little issue on that previous lap because they lost a lot of time. To Skater 28, like 14 or 15 seconds. So that's quite a big gap as we watch TR Racing. Now TR is, where is TR Racing? About to go around All Coast Marine. So just heading down towards towards Warners Bay now. So just cleared the E mark. About to go by the Warners Bay Foreshore Reserve. I can hear it from the other side of the lake. That's how loud this thing is. I'm literally a couple of kilometres away and we can well and truly hear it from the Marmong Point Empire Marina. Now, one boat I haven't seen for a little while is Team 38 Offshore. As continue to watch the big Cruiser, big block, lead Supersport 85. So I wonder if it's Team 38 Offshore that may have had a mechanical drama down at B mark. So it's just out of my sight through the pine trees down here on the reserve where we're parked. And I don't think Team 38 Offshore has come back past us for a little while. So there's only about probably 10 to 12 second gap between TR Racing and Skater 28 for the outright lead in Supersport 85. In Supersport 65, there's about 20 seconds covering. Oh, it'd be a little bit longer than that now because TR's just coming through to lap 72, Supersport 65 leader. So TR Racing's just gone through. This is Skater 28 going through. So yeah, 8 to 10 seconds. Pretty much similar lap times for the last lap. Still Valentis third in Supersport 65. Sorry, second. Third is All Coast Marine. And not too far behind them is Cardiac Arrest. So Cardiac Arrest having a much better run than the first race. to figure out who else I haven't seen come past. So there goes Nutcase. It's just come past me now as you watch Skater 28 down at the B and C marks. Colonel Racing comes through, so they're third, chasing down this boat. Two behind this boat is the 36 of Watersports Marine. They've just gone through here in front of us at race control. Then it'll be the Con in number 80. And the Con is running at the tail of the field. So it looks like Team 38 Offshore we've lost. That call for one of the recovery boats to tow, I think, was for the Team 38 Offshore. So Ben Embleton and Liam Sutherland, the 3-litre Merc 225 outboard, not playing anymore in the second race of the weekend for Supersports 65 and 85. We are approaching 18 minutes. We're about 17 and a half minutes into this one, so 12 and a half minutes left to go here. So that'll be around 4 laps. And then we'll conclude here for today's racing. A few of the teams, a little bit of work to do overnight in the pit area as we regroup and build up for 3 more races tomorrow. So 2 races for the Supercat Outboard and Supercat Extreme classes, and 1 race in between those 2 races for the Sports 65 and 85 classes. I love these drone shots. As I said, we used to do this with helicopters, which are certainly a lot more expensive with manpower and running the helicopters to get these shots. So the technology with these drones and that now is just superb. I'd be too scared of flying the thing into the water. So TR Racing's just backed off the pace a little bit, but they don't want to be too careful because it sort of dropped them back into the grasp of Skater 28. So TR's just come past us now. Here is Skater 28. So TR's just gone through. It's still about 10 seconds. About 10 seconds. So All Coast Marine still third in Sports 65. So they've just come off the G mark and heading down past Spears Point. So the 72's got that race under control. Patrick Benici in the Force F19X Yamaha 4-stroke 200. And he has been chased by Valentis, All Coast Marine and Cardiac Arrest. So that's All Coast just being passed around the outside by the Colonel Racing Skater down at H and I. And that brings us, so there's the marina on the right. This little headland to the right is where we're based with race control. So as the 13 of Valentis goes through, Colonel to their inside, and All Coast Marine. They've literally just gone past us here at race control and commentary. I'm standing on top of our race bus, which is very, very well set up. So we run the FM out of here. We've got a portable speaker system. We've hooked up with the Blendline TV and running through all their systems. I've got screens up here as well. We're so spoiled compared to how we used to do offshore powerboat commentary, where I'd be sitting on the waterfront with a microphone and the entry list, and that would be about it. And I'd be marking down the laps on a pen in one hand and trying to keep an eye on laps and who's where on another hand. So we've definitely come a long, long way, and I feel very, very spoiled to have the access to what we've got up here this weekend at Lake Macquarie as part of this coverage, with lap scoring, screens as you're seeing it here with the live stream, and looking out at this beautiful, beautiful race course at Lake Macquarie with a little bit of a breeze on. It's not too hot and very, very comfortable. So we're inside the last 10 minutes for this second race of the day for Supersports 65 and 85. TR Racing's just heading down past Spears Point now to complete another lap. Last lap, they picked up the pace to a 3:01. Skater 28 tried to go with them with a 3:03. So again, that gap is around 10 seconds. They've definitely got away from the Colonel and Watersports Marine for third and fourth because they're over the other side of the lake at the moment. A fair way away from these two. So here's TR Racing. Awesome sounding boat, and it sits well. So it's a Force 21, primarily built for ski boat racing. So towing 2 skiers, single skis at 120 miles per hour. They're just cruising at 85 at the moment, but that boat would be capable of going much faster than that. So the Skater 28 team are only 8 to 10 seconds behind them. And then we've got a big gap because the Colonel and Watersports Marine are over the other side of the course. In fact, they're just on screen now, actually, coming off G mark. So pretty much half a lap. So the Colonel's just gone past. In fact, the Colonel's just gone past the Supersports 65 leader, so that's actually Patrick Benici in Power Marine. And Watersports Marine is just in behind them, which is the sort of dark grey and chrome colours with the 450 horsepower Mercury 4-stroke outboard on the back of it. So it looks like it's closing up now for Supersports 65. I think that was Valentis and All Coast Marine. So Benici's dominating in Supersports 65, crosses the line now as Valentis and All Coast Marine are just down at H&I now. So that gap's probably 30 plus seconds, probably closer to 40 seconds. So the 72 definitely dominating this one. Force F19. And we're about 6.5 minutes away from finishing, so probably a couple more laps. So here's Valentis and All Coast Marine, second and third in Supersports 65 mile per hour. Valentis is a good looking boat. Cardiac Arrest just in behind them, boat number 46. That's one of the Cuda crafts. We've seen a lot of them in the sport of offshore power boat racing over the last few years in and around Australia. Aaron Jackson just having a look over his shoulder to see where the next boat is. So second and third. He won the first race. I don't think he's going to win this one because he's only got about 5.5 minutes left to try and get to the 72. Who's 30 or 40 seconds up the road. So I can just see in the centre of the course coming back on the tow. It is Team 38 Offshore. Unfortunately, they've had a drama in this one. So couple not starting, one DNF at the moment as the race leader goes back through to complete another lap. 3:03 for the last lap. Skater 28 goes past at a 3:06. I lost 3 seconds on that one. So where the force inboard makes all its ground, I think in acceleration, like it just streaked away from the start, got to that 85 mile an hour and then just sat planted on it. And it's probably got a little bit of an advantage through some of the tighter corners around this course. So about 4.5 minutes left to go. So maybe another lap after this one. As that wind's just died back down. It's sort of, it goes up for a little bit and then backs off, so just gusted up a little bit there now, but again, I reckon it's just dropped down a little bit from the Superboat Extreme race that we saw a little bit earlier on. So we're still watching the Supersports 85 leader, TR Racing, Ian Tricker, and Mark the Russian. Mark Pichazlitsky or is it Petkazewski? I think it's Petkazewski. But the team here at Australian Offshore just call him Mark the Russian. So TR Racing's just going past Case, Antonio Fazzolari. We definitely had some issues with one of the biggest chime walks I've seen for a long, long time in a boat here in front of us on the front straight. The boat was going side to side. So we're about 3.5 minutes away. The big inboard force has just come off Warner's Bay, so I reckon there'll be another lap after this one. We saw Darren Nicholson time it to perfection, where the finish flag nearly didn't go up because he literally hit the start for the finish line at 30 minutes on the dot. 72 still leads Supersport 65, just completes a lap now in front of me. As we continue to watch our Supersport 85 leader, stunning looking boat. I can't believe this is a off-the-shelf package you can buy off Mercruiser in the US. 575 cubic inches of quad cam big block, twin turbocharged, 1800 horsepower capable. That is mental. Absolutely mental. But it's a pretty impressive piece of kit. So we're just watching that Supersport 65 battle continue on between All Coast Marine Valentis. Just come past us now, and they're about to get gobbled up by 1800 horsepower of inboard. So should be one more lap. Boat sits so well on the water. Just sitting in the wash of some of the boats, slower boats up ahead. Going to the outside of Aaron Jackson. It's hard case watching someone stand up in a race boat getting lapped by 1800 horsepower of inboard Mercruiser. So this should be the last lap. Our finished boat's just down here in front of us getting prepared. They nearly got caught out in the Superboat Extreme race a little bit earlier on today because I was going, does Darren Nicholson just sort of slow up here to avoid having to do another lap? Don't think we'll have the issue with that one now. As you can see, the speed difference between some of the 85 and 65 mile an hour boats. As TR Racing clears. That's the other weird thing, watching the driver and the navigator, the co-driver, sitting in opposite directions, which tells me it's definitely a ski boat. Used to seeing the two single skiers out the back of these boats with like lengths of ski rope, like they're 200 feet long, 120 miles an hour. Those guys and girls are just a little bit special. I think there's recently been a World Championships for ski boat racing somewhere in Europe in the last month or so. So Skater 28 continues to chase down TR Racing. Still probably that 8 to 10 second range. Skater 28 was actually 3 seconds faster on the last lap, so at 8 to 10 seconds it'd be pretty close to where it's been most of the race. So Skater 28 not making it as easy as it was for TR Racing in the first race. Checkered flag definitely due to come out here down in front of race control to conclude this one on this lap. So TR Racing, Skater 28, Colonel Racing and Supersport 85. Power Marine, Valentis and All Coast Marine 1, 2 and 3 in Supersport 65. So TR Racing down through to Spears Point for the last time in race number 2. One more race for the weekend left for them tomorrow. That will be in between races 2 and 3 for the Superboat Extreme and Superboat Super Cat outboard categories. So 3 more races left to go tomorrow, but for this one it's 2 wins from 2 starts for TR Racing. We will have a different winner in Supersport 65, and that's Supersport 65. I think might have to go around a lap because the 72's just gone around. So TR Racing take out Supersport 85. as the winner of the race. So I think the 72 still has to go around for another lap. Skater 28 goes through for second. And that gap, it was only probably about 8 to 10 seconds, if that. So Patrick Benici just went through ahead in front of the race winner in Sports 65. So I think he's got to do another lap. Whereas Patrick's competitors are about to cross the line now and get the checkered flag. So that shouldn't change anything. But Valentis will take second in Supersports 65. Aaron Jackson will take third in Supersports 65, having won the first race a little bit earlier on today. Fourth in Supersports 65 will be Cardiac Arrest, Charlie Diorio and Greg Walters. It was a good run for them. And fifth should be Nutcase. Oh, geez, he's really just got a little bit out of shape in the big Razor craft. Antonio Fazzolari. And the last of the Supersport 65 boats will be the Con, which is just coming to the line now. We're watching the 72 over the backside of the course, which will win Supersport 65, but goes around another lap, having just mistimed the run to the checkered flag. Colonel Racing crosses the line in third for Supersport 85. As we watch the 72 heading towards Warners Bay. So the checkered flag obviously has to come out for the race leader overall, which would be 85, as Watersports Marine crosses the line fourth in Supersport 85. So pretty much this boat will take out Supersport 65, but we'll have another lap on board, because he was that far ahead of the Supersport 65 second and third. They crossed the line behind him. So this should be the last boat that we've got out there on the race course. Patrick Benici, Power Marine, the Yamaha 200 4-stroke. His first win of the day to go with the top three in race number one. So we're about a minute and a half before we see this boat cross the line, and that'll conclude our racing today, day one here at Lake Macquarie for the opening round of the Australian Offshore Powerboat Championships, Superboat Championships. Still do actually have a couple of boats out the back of the course still running, but they've definitely taken the checkered flag, whereas this boat hadn't, because it was ahead of the 85 winner and had to go around another lap. So it just puts them a lap up on the rest of the field. Patrick Benici, the Force F19X with the 4-stroke 200 Yamaha out the back, will take out the Supersport 65 mile an hour class. Did it pretty comfortably in the end too. I think he was by himself in the first race. I'm not sure who's sitting alongside of him in this one. So it's been a beautiful day's racing. A little bit going down in the Empire Marina with a couple of the teams in the Supercat class to work on tonight, and I'll go and find out about that shortly. We'll rejoin you tomorrow. So time-wise tomorrow, we've got 3 more races. We'll start an hour earlier for tomorrow. So race 1 started today at 12. Race 1 tomorrow, which is race 2 for the Superboat, starts at 11 a.m. Race 3 for the Supersports at 12. And race 3 for the Superboats at 1 p.m. So we'll be back online around sort of 10:30 a.m. in the morning with Blendline TV YouTube channel and their Facebook page, and the Offshore Superboat Australia Facebook page with our live stream coverage. Hope you've enjoyed the action today. Thank you for watching. I'm Jamie McCarthy. Thank you to the Blendline TV team, to Russell and Race Control, all of our volunteers out there on the water and the various rescue boats, start boats, and back here in the marina and for the event. Empire Marina, Lake Macquarie Council, Hornet Property Service and Wilson Lift. Thank you very much. We will rejoin with our live stream tomorrow with 3 more races, 2 for the Superboats and 1 more for the Supersports 65s and 85s. See you then.